Now, the Shri Janmabhoomi Tirtha Kshetra Trust will hold a crucial meeting today at the Ram Temple complex in Ayodhya amid the controversy over the alleged embezzlement of temple donations. The meeting is expected to address the key administrative, financial and security issues as the donation row continues to spark political debate. Now, the temple administration assistant Gopal Rao said that the meeting will begin at 3 p.m. inside the temple premises with all the trust members informed. The meeting comes amid demands for accountability following the alleged donation theft case. The alleged misuse of Ram temple donation has intensified the political battle. Opposition parties have demanded an independent probe, while the BJP has accused them of politicizing the issue linked to the faith of millions of Hindus. The 5-point agenda of today's meeting include: the first agenda is the consideration of resignations submitted by General Secretary Champat Rai and Trustee Anil Mishra. The Trust will also review the role of a special invitee, Gopal Rao. Members will decide whether to accept or reject the resignations submitted after the controversy surfaced. The Trust will be briefed on the preliminary findings of the special investigation team. Members are also expected to discuss a strengthening temple security, plugging CCTV blind spots, and improving cash collection systems to prevent future theft. Administrative reforms will also be discussed, including decentralizing decision-making and introducing stronger checks and balances. The proposal to create a Chief Executive Officer post for professional management is also expected to be taken up. The Trust members will review and vote on the unaudited financial statements for the financial year 2025-2026, including income, expenditure and balance sheets, as financial records remain under scrutiny amid the ongoing investigation. And under the final agenda, members may discuss additional matters with the chairman's approval. Now, these could include facilities for devotees during the summer season and filing the vacant trustee position. Meanwhile, security has also been significantly tightened in the area surrounding the venue where the trust meeting is scheduled to take place. Vehicles are not being allowed beyond a point where only vehicles with authorized parking passes are being permitted to proceed further. Commando deployment vehicles are also patrolling Rampath as part of the heightened security. The outcome of today's meeting is expected to shape the Trust's response to the donation controversy and determine the next course of action on governance, security and financial oversight at the Ram Temple. And to discuss this further, I'm joined by an esteemed panel of guests this afternoon. I'm joined by Brijesh Pandey of the News9. I'm also joined by Professor Rajiv Lochan, who's an author, and Anil K. Verma, who's a political analyst. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for taking your time and joining us here at News9. I want to begin with you, Brijesh Pandey. Since you are following this entire investigation very closely, we are looking at a very crucial meeting today. What can be the outcome of this? Because this is snowballing into a bigger controversy than it was expected. It's not only about a paltry sum of donation. It looks like a larger scheme of embezzlement that needs to be plugged forthwith, because if this is one place where we were not expecting something like this to take place was Ram Mandir, and there could be many other such places of worship which could be following something similar. It needs to be done at a policy level, is what do you think?
Well, I think, it is not only limited to, people tinkering with or taking away the donation money which was given for donation, but I think this fraud has been going on for a very long time now. I think perhaps for the first time when it has become so brazen and in your face, only then the issue has exploded. People are trying to limit it to only donation row. But I think, look at the kind of claims which have been made that, 40% commissions were asked for during the entire course of construction was going on. And when the lands were sold and then resold at exorbitant prices, I think, alarm bells should have rung at that point of time, but it didn't. And if you go by, various interviews and of people who have donated a substantial chunk of, money, gold, or article of faith being made of gold, and they don't know what has happened to that. And they have also claimed that, you know, one of the CEO which has given former a very senior IAS officer in an interview to a private TV channel has said that that, you know, he could not find 2 kg of gold which he had donated, and he also raised this issue with Mohan Bhagwat, with Nipin Mishra and all, but there was no solution to this. I think, you know, one of the key issue which is going to be decided today is A, what will happen to Champat Rai and Anil Mishra. In all likelihood, they will be shown the door. How they do it, you know, without making it very muddy, and given the fact that, you know, Champat Rai has been the face of this for a very long time, remains to be seen. And B, I think, you know, most crucial is, are we going to go in for a CEO mandated or CEO style, you know, overlooking of this particular trust, the one which we have seen in southern state. And, you know, it is the crisis, if you ask me, is extremely deep, and you know, the government has to make sure that this time the overall reflects the sentiment of crores and crores of Hindus.
Absolutely, Brijesh. This has shaken the consciousness and the faith of several Hindus and Indians all alike. I would want to go across to you, Professor Lochan. I want to begin by asking you, what happens when something of this magnitude takes place in Uttar Pradesh, in Ayodhya, in Ram Mandir? Does it go on to tell a lot more about how nonchalant was the government by not looking into the working of the trust, or perhaps not seeing the fine print of the audits, because this almost happened under their nose?
Not looking at the functioning of the trust, not looking at the fine print. These have been serious weaknesses of the Modi government. The Modi government has been able to get away with it simply because people do not demand high quality governance in India. This kind of mismanagement, mismanagement which says that even when suspicion comes up, we are not going to investigate anything. This allows for a large amount of wrongdoing to happen. In the present case, all the appointees have been approved by the RSS, and somehow the RSS has figured out that the people of whom it had trusted, these people have turned out to be cheats and incompetent people. Now, this governance issue is something which remains at the core of the Modi government, and it's not just in the Ram Mandir, but also in the central government, in the union government, where small things keep on going wrong all the time, with things which should not have gone wrong. The NTA crisis that happened, the NEET crisis that happened, they all fall in line in one single space. The reason why we come to know about this Ram Mandir problem is because someone within the Ram Mandir snitched. Had that person not snitched, and had that person not snitched so publicly, we would have remained unaware of whatever is going on in the Ram Mandir. Now, this kind of a problem only happens when basic systems of governance have not been followed, when basic systems of governance have been short-circuited not once, but repeatedly. Because every time in a government which is well-governed, in a system which is well-governed, hints always keep on coming up that there's going to be a problem. And if people who are in charge of the system, they continuously, routinely avoid taking into account these minor micro details, then a big problem is bound to happen. And this is what seems to have happened. If 2 people are removed from this trust, it's not going to mean that the system has become robust enough. What it would mean is that they are trying to do some kind of firefighting, ensure that the blame does not fall onto the government. However, I would say that the blame very definitely falls on the government, not on the UP government, but on the central government, because this particular trust was operating considerably under the governance system that has been set up by the central government.
Absolutely. The onus has to lie with the government, and the buck got to stop somewhere. Mr. Anil Kumar Verma, I want to ask you that when we are talking about accountability to be fixed, we are not just looking at the trust, we are not just looking at trying to find who were responsible as far as this embezzlement is concerned, but also how the authorities that be did not try to have a keen eye to look at the workings or how the donations were collected, whether there was any coupon giving, whether there was a QR code, whether it was all accounted for. These were the areas of concern. You feel that a lot could have been done given the fact that it's a double engine sarkar. You have the BJP government in UP and the center, and Ram Mandir has been one of their most important agenda of sorts.
Samia, very well said. I feel that whosoever has raised this issue has done a great service to the nation, because had this issue not been figured or brought to daylight, then this would have gone for years and years and years. And I suspect that this may not be only confined to Ram Mandir, but maybe to other religious places, probably in each religion. So, cutting across all religious this Ram Mandir episode is of very deep, emotional disturbance to each and every Indian, especially Hindus. Now, whatever we may say of the people who are in the trust, I, as a student, think that nobody can be absolved of the responsibility, because when the trust was constituted, the prime agenda of the trust or the responsibility of the trust was to oversee the construction, administration, and the management of this Ram temple. And therefore, once the construction was over, I have a feeling that most of the people in the trust, they thought that most of the responsibilities are over, and for the administrative and the management part, they became absolutely careless. Because had they been careful, and because the magnitude of donations they are involved in, donation or dan in the Indian context, it's a religious thing. We say that if you donate something, your left hand should not know if you have donated with the left hand, your right hand should not know it. So the people who are claiming that they have donated and now they want a receipt and now they want it back, that's a different thing. But the mahima of dan in the Indian or the Hindu faith is that we do not tell people about what we have donated. But anyhow, the people who feel hurt because of this story and all, they have a right to go and say that whether whatever they donated is safe or not. But the people who say I was not involved and only 1%, 2%, 3%, they are involved in the day-to-day, collection and transfer and to bank transfer and counting, etc. This doesn't cut ice with the common people, and people are absolutely hurt about this. That why such a high-profile, trust could not take cognizance of what is happening under their nose. And secondly, or thirdly, I should say that now people are jumping to conclusions. Now, as a student of the subject, I would consider that, okay, now when the things have come to light, let the law take its own course. The SIT has been constituted. The police has FIR has been lodged, and now the investigations are going on. So anybody would ultimately want things to come to a logical judicial conclusion. And of course, anybody high profile, howsoever he might be, he should be held accountable and he should be punished according to the law. But jumping to conclusions doesn't serve any purpose to my.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mr. Anil Kumar Verma. And this is exactly the demand of Mahant Nritya Gopal Das, also on the Ram temple donation theft. I'm going to quote a bit from him. We are also playing it out on our graphics on the screens right now, where he has expressed complete faith in Yogi Adityanath and Narendra Modi, saying that both the leaders would treat the matter with utmost seriousness and ensure that the guilty are punished. But he also underscores the fact that the incidents amount to an attack on the faith of millions of Hindus and appealed that no one should exploit religion or people's faith for personal or political gain. Now, of course, these statements are only coming now when this entire scam of sorts, this entire embezzlement issue has come and surfaced so far. But Brijesh Pandey continues to be with us. Brijesh, when the opposition is asking for accountability, they are asking for a court-monitored probe. Do you feel the government is going to give way into the demand? Because as of now, the government has only been accusing the opposition party of politicizing the issue rather than understanding the gravity of the situation at large. But they are well within their right to demand a fair court-monitored probe.
Well, I think, anybody who says that opposition is playing politics and, they should not play politics and they should have faith in the investigation which is being carried out is more or less laughable. The reason why I say laughable, Samya, is the fact that, this issue was not something which was hidden. it was happening, and anybody who raised his or her voice, be it opposition or anybody from inside, his voice was silent, and if silenced, and he was said that, are you Hindu? If you are Hindu, you cannot raise your voice on or something like this. And it was only after the issue gained a lot of traction, and a lot of people started talking about how they had donated, and now they fear that whatever they had donated is not there in the safe hands. Only then the government woke up to the situation, and surprisingly an FIR was not filed. An SIT was constituted. The SIT did an investigation, submitted its detail, and submitted its report, and only after that an FIR was filed. The other fact is that why many are not very convinced with the investigation which is happening is that till now name of Champat Rai or Anil Mishra is not there in the FIR. FIR is the first information report. If your name is in the FIR, it doesn't mean that you are guilty. But the fact of the matter is that if anybody says that Champat Rai was not aware or Anil Mishra was not aware of what was happening, and the fact that people who were earning 10,000, 12,000 rupees per month were able to construct houses worth 25 lakhs and 30 lakhs, and they had no idea about it, then I honestly don't know what exactly to say. The fact is that Champat Rai is still there in the trust. The fact is Champat Rai is still running the entire mechanism, and the government's inability to do anything with it is very alarming, and that is the reason why when people say that like as it happens with when the ruling parties and opposition party in other state they demand an Supreme Court led or monitored investigation. I think this is a fit case for Supreme Court monitoring investigation.
Why should
because
Champat Rai not resign? Why should he not step aside till the investigation is through? And unless he has been put on the clear, why should he not step aside? Why should he continue being part of the trust? Because today that particular meeting that is going to take place is also going to decide whether he should resign or not.
Well, I think, they are going to decide on the fate of his resignation or not. But the fact of the matter is that, yes, he should have been removed by the government from the day-to-day functioning.
Absolutely.
He is still there in Ayodhya. All the frauds, all the embezzlement happened under his watch. And to say that, that he is not guilty, it's laughable. And the fact of the matter is that this is the reason why, many people don't have absolute faith in the investigation which is being carried out. Because, the 70-time theft which the SIT is talking about vis-a-vis, the CCTV cameras which have been installed, this is something which must have been going on for years altogether. For a 10,000 rupee, the person who's getting 10,000 or 15,000 rupee salary is flaunting an iPhone of more than 1 lakh rupees and is constructing a house for more than 25, 30 lakh rupees, clearly points to the level of embezzlement which has been going on for, I think, a very long time now.
Absolutely, and I have paucity of time, but before I wrap, I want to ask Professor Rajiv that Mr. Anil Kumar Verma had mentioned something very important, that doesn't appear to be only one or two stray people involved in the siphoning of funds to a great extent. It looks like there was a syndicate, an organized group at play that was carrying out this embezzlement, the siphoning of money, money being given directly to people and members. Hold that thought. We have a reaction coming in, and then I'll come to you, Mr. Rajiv Lochan.
बहुत व्याकुल हैं आप, बताइए कुछ बताइए। मैं बतलाता हूँ आपको। आज की बैठक के बाद में मैं रात में भी आपसे मिलूंगा। 3 दिन मैं यहाँ पर हूँ। कौन-कौन शामिल हो रहे हैं? सुनिए 3 दिन यहाँ पर हूँ। आपके सबके साथ मिलकर के मैं सारी बात करूँगा। प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस होगी महाराज जी, बिल्कुल होगी। कहाँ पे होगी? क्या निर्णय लिया जाएगा जो आरोप लगा रहे हैं? वो अभी बोलूंगा क्या? पत्र में भी आप महाराज जी कौन-कौन शामिल हो रहे हैं? कौन-कौन? महाराज जी कौन-कौन?
Govind Giri, who has arrived there for that particular meeting. But Mr. Rajiv Lochan, I was asking you that question that Mr. Anil Kumar Verma had raised, that it doesn't appear to be a case of 1 or 2 people involved who are now being pinpointed and blamed for. It looks like there was a syndicate at play. It looks like it was an organized group that was trying to siphon off the money. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Rajiv Lochan?
That is the suspicion which everyone seems to have. But I can assure you there would be no syndicate involved anywhere. These would be random single individuals who are working together off and on. The problem here in the Ayodhya case is not that a handful of people were being corrupt. The problem is that within the union government, there has been a major problem of governance. People are not looking at the micro details. People are not listening to the small word. And and there's no effort at double checking whether things which were supposed to be done have been done or not. Because please remember, such large temples and such large management of temples have existed in India for a very long time. The Tirupati temple manages much more than what Ayodhya temple does, and they have been able to resolve the problems much better in a more constructive fashion than the Ayodhya temple has done. Kashi Vishwanath has been able to run very well, and all of it is because their formal structures are strong. In the Ayodhya case, the trust was given total authority, and the trust demonstrated that it is simply incompetent. The trust demonstrated that it has absolutely zero interest in actual
Question
processes of
whether the trust
governance.
at all should be put in place in these places of worship, or should the government take over the audits entirely under their domain? Anil Kumar Verma, final word from you. I have paucity of time, quickly.
You see, the trust should be there. The government
Mr.
really
Lochan,
should
I'll
not have
request Mr. Anil Kumar Verma to make the final words. I have paucity of time. What do you have to say, Mr. Anil Kumar Verma? Should there be a trust, or should the government be responsible for these places of worship entirely by themselves?
I mean, it's not only a matter of whether a trust or whether the government involvement. The people are there. The people are the same, whether it be the trust or the government. And therefore, what is very important is that we have to somehow ensure some kind of a value, injection in the entire, team that is looking after, overseeing the entire operation, because the amount involved is so huge. And not only the amount, it's not only a matter of money, it's a matter of faith.
Absolutely. It is a matter of faith, and that is the reason why we here at News 9 are keeping a close eye on all the developments taking place and bringing it to our viewers. I have paucity of time. I'll wrap this conversation here. Thank you so much, Mr. Brajesh Pandey, Professor Rajiv Lochan, and Anil Kumar Verma for taking your time and joining me here at News 9.